What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over all the new Heisted Exotics that were added in yesterday's Fortnite update. As always, if you guys do find this video helpful or informative, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and comment down below which of these Heisted Exotics is your favorite to use in Fortnite. So there were 5 new Heisted Exotics added yesterday, and you can get these from 1, opening a vault at either Faulty, Shattered Slabs, or Brutal Bastion. When you get into the vault, there's special like henchman crates that you open towards the back, and then you have the chance to get exotics. You can get them from holochests for 2 keys if they happen to spawn in holochests. There are special vending machines around the map, and for 1,000 gold each, you can end up getting these exotics. And that 1,000 gold does sound expensive, but with a lot of the changes they made in the update, it's very easy to get gold. Just opening one of the vaults, I pretty much always leave with max gold, pretty much regardless of however much I went in. They made a lot of things more expensive in yesterday's update, and I've been spending gold a pretty good amount, but I've also been able to stay relatively at a high level of gold whenever I do end up opening the vaults. But even other activities around the map give you more gold than what they used to. And then there's also an augment that you can get, which gives you a random Heisted Exotic. And then there are a few boss characters at those POIs with the vaults that you kill to get the key card, and they also have a specific one that they can drop, but we'll get to that when we get there. The first one we're going to talk about is the exotic Maven auto shotty. I think this is the best of the new exotics. It has better damage than the legendary Maven, and the effect of this is that when you do damage with it, you get increased movement speed and a faster fire rate. And that fire rate is ridiculous because once you hit somebody with it, you could just hold the trigger and it starts shooting incredibly fast. For those of you who don't know, the Maven is fully automatic, so you could just hold the trigger down. Typically, it doesn't really change that much because it doesn't have that great of a fire rate, but once you hit somebody with this, your fire rate is going to be ridiculous, and you have a Maven that already does more damage than the base, so to do more damage and shoot much faster, it's kind of insane. I think if you're able to get this, this is probably the best shotgun in the game right now. My sample size is somewhat limited. I've only used it in between 5 and 10 games. But every time I've had this weapon, it has felt incredibly good once you hit that initial shot on somebody. And if you hammer onto them and then just kind of shoot them from the sky, even if that first shot doesn't do a lot of damage, it procs the effect, which is going to make it incredibly fast when you do eventually land on them. And then the movement speed is also nice. Not only is it just good to get movement speed all the time, but with the heat system they added into the game, you already get a lot of movement speed benefits from that. So combining the movement speed benefits of the heat plus this, your character is a monster. And if you combine this with like the shotgun siphon augment and maybe even the 0-point dash augment, you're going to be a menace to deal with. And I think this is probably the best weapon in the game right now, especially if you can get it with the shotgun siphon augment, because you're going to be shooting your shotgun ridiculously fast. There's also a exotic twin mag SMG. You can get this one by eliminating the boss at Faulty. And once again, it does more damage and it has a better reload speed than the legendary twin mag. And its exotic effect is that when you reload it, you get the 0-point dash ability for a few seconds. This effect isn't that great, but just having a better twin mag than the base twin mag is definitely appreciated. And the 0-point effect is good to have. It's just not as convenient for it to activate on reload as it is with like the augment where you get it on shield break. But I could definitely see a world in which like you kind of go behind cover, reload this, and then like 0-point dash out to the side and then start frying them again. Maybe 0-point dash, switch weapons to your shotgun and pump them. There is definitely some use for this, and it is more convenient to get it this way than like what we had in the past with like the 0-point fish or the 0-point pretzel. But still, I think the 0-point augment is the preferred way to get the 0-point dash. If you have both of them, that's nice. Like I said, as far as a spread, just on a weapon basis, this weapon is really good regardless of the effect, and it's not like the effect hurts it, so it's good. And you can conveniently get it from the boss at Faulty. Every time you eliminate them, they will drop this weapon. The next is going to be a heavy shotgun. Once again, like the other ones, it has better stats than the gold one ever so slightly. The effect of this one is that it does massive structure damage and will one-shot pretty much any structure in the game from what I've seen. You can get this one guaranteed from the boss at Shattered Slabs when you eliminate them. I don't really care for the heavy shotgun, but if you like the heavy shotgun, you'll obviously like this one. It's a better heavy shotgun. And then it has the effect of destroying cover insanely well. In both zero builds and builds, this is nice to have and nice to be able to kind of play around with and put pressure on people by destroying cover. I definitely could see a world in zero build where you just kind of carry this to remove cover if you're fighting somebody. or you have somebody in your squad kind of carry this weapon just for the sake of removing cover. And then maybe if you hit somebody with it, that's nice. But just as like a primary shotgun goes, I don't really like the heavy shotgun. I don't really care for it myself. I feel like it's just too inconvenient to use for how insane the game is with mobility at the moment. But it is useful. Its effect is definitely nice. And like in team game modes, I feel like there's a little more room in your inventory to carry more situational items because you have, 4 people. I definitely could see this being somewhat useful given the loadout. The next is going to be a red eye, which shoots explosive damage, and when you hit somebody with this, you get 30 explosive damage and 30 base damage. And that sounds ridiculous, but it is projectile instead of hit scan, so your bullets will have travel time, and it's not the fastest travel time. I felt like anything past like 50, 60 meters was very inconvenient to use this weapon. And because of like the explosive effect, when it does land, it can be somewhat hard to gauge how, like, if you need to aim up slightly more, aim like to the right slightly more, it's somewhat inconvenient to use. And it also has a lower fire rate than the base red eye. So as like a 1-to-1 red eye replacement, I really don't like this. If you're going to use this as your main AR, you're very, very limited on range. But if you just want to carry this for the situational effect of like the explosive damage, it is very good. And like you can consistently get shots like around cover. If you're shooting somebody and then they end up going behind a tree, you could just shoot the ground next to the tree and they'll be taking 30 explosive damage. And that's usually going to force them out into an angle where you can shoot them. A lot of people really don't know what to do when they start taking damage behind their cover. It's just like a really awkward thing to deal with. So again, like the heavy shotgun, I said that wasn't like a shotgun replacement for me. I don't really view this as a red eye replacement, but I do see a world in which this could be incredibly good, especially if you have the maven shotgun, because the new maven shotgun, you don't need a spray weapon with that as much. So you could kind of run like maven shotgun or the exotic maven shotgun, the exotic red eye, heals, a hammer, and then a normal red eye. So you have your normal red eye for range. You have the explosive red eye if they end up behind cover. And then you also have your shotgun for incredibly close range. And since that maven has a ridiculous fire rate once you hit somebody, you really don't need a spray weapon as much. And I could see this explosive red eye working for that. The heavy sniper, if you want to make that work, I feel like the exotic red eye is the way to go. RPG, and then even that heavy shotgun that breaks builds, I feel like all of those like more situational items, the Excalibur as well, they work better now that this exotic maven shotgun exists and you can kind of free up an inventory slot. The final one we're going to talk about is going to be the exotic P90. So this is the P90 returning to the game. As far as just a weapon goes, it has a lower damage and fire rate than the Twin mag, but it does have 33 rounds in the mag. So it does have a much higher magazine size than what the Twin mag does. And the exotic effect of this weapon is that while you have it out, you have the slap effect permanently, and it auto reloads while you're sprinting. So if you're holding this weapon out, you have unlimited sprint, essentially. And this is really nice, not only because the heat system increases your base movement speed. I feel like slap is really nice right now. If you're like heat level 4 and you have slap, you are zooming around the map incredibly fast. But also, mobility is harder to get now. The Nimbus Cloud is gone. The Shockwave Bow is gone. The only mobility in the game is the hammer, and they also removed or moved the NPC that sells the hammer. It used to be at a castle towards the middle of the map. Now they are no longer there. I'm not sure if they relocated them to a different spot, but I haven't seen them yet if they did. So from my perception currently, there's no way to buy a hammer. There's no Shockwave Bow to roll for as far as augments go. There's no Nimbus Cloud to get from a capsule or potentially buy from a vending machine. So mobility is somewhat limited. If you do come across this, it wouldn't be the worst thing to have as your mobility item. I've also found myself carrying slap juice more if I'm not able to get my hands on a hammer. And that sounds terrible. You're like, oh, you're relying on sprint for mobility. But as you increase your heat system or your heat level, and if you open one of the vaults, you're probably going to be max heat or very close to max heat. You have 25 base extra movement speed and you go incredibly fast. And with the slap effect, unlimited sprint, you do get from point A to point B incredibly quick. It's not the best mobility in a fight. It's not the best if you're getting shot at, but it's certainly better than nothing. So I found myself using the slap effect more since the update. And if I haven't been able to find a hammer yet, this can kind of do as somewhat of a mobility item, but I'm not really excited to take it that much. And I'm also not really excited to use this as a weapon. I think of the exotics they added today, this P90 and the heavy shotgun are probably my least 2 favorite. I think the explosive red eye definitely has situations where it can be viable. And then I think both the Twin mag and the maven shotgun are incredibly good, but the maven shotgun is probably the best of the 5. But that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys found it helpful and informative. If you did, remember to give a like, Subscribe if you like some more. I think I forgot to mention, but the explosive red eye you can get from the boss at Brutal Bastion. So there's vaults at Brutal Bastion. The boss drops the red eye. Faulty Splits, there's a vault. The boss drops the twin mag. And then Shattered Slabs, there's also a vault, and the boss drops the heavy shotgun. But like I said, that is it for today's video. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you like some more. And comment down below which of these exotics is your favorite. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.